All right, I'd like to call to order the Transportation Advisory Committee meeting for Thursday, November 13th. Can I get a roll call, please?
Yes, Mr. Rendelman.
Here.
Mr. Freeze.
Here.
Mr. Morgan.
Here.
Mr. Simmons.
Present.
Mr. Jessic.
Here.
Ms. Mumm. Here.
All right. I would look for some public comments, but I'm assuming we do not have any tonight. So we can move on to our general business. And the first item on there is welcoming Betty. She is our newest member to the TAC from the Chamber of Commerce. So thank you very much and welcome.
Thank you, welcome. Welcome to you all.
We appreciate it. Next item is we do have a presentation on the I-205 improvement, and I believe we have a couple people willing to speak to us about this.
Yeah.
The floor is yours.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. I am Lili Boicourt with ODOT Community Affairs, and I am responsible for the communications on this project. I am fairly new to the project. I've been on it about 6 months. But we wanted to come here and thank you for inviting us to talk about what's going on the bridge. It's in your backyard, and there's a lot happening. So we're here to remind you what the project is, give you some background, tell you where we're at, what we've accomplished so far, what's ahead, and then we have quite a bit of time for questions if you, assuming that you have some. Our presentation itself will probably be about 10 to 15 minutes. So anyway, here is our bridge that we all know and love, the Abernethy Bridge. We've been in construction for about 3 years now, and got about another year, a little over a year left, and that's a very familiar site. I'm going to turn it over to Matt in a second, but I just want to remind everybody sort of the main part of this project is to make the Abernethy Bridge earthquake ready, and that's what all the big machines and all the reinforcement and all the columns and all the work that you're seeing there is really about that earthquake resiliency. Once it's finished, it will be an emergency lifeline across the Willamette River. So this is something that will serve the region, and in the event of a major earthquake, will be the Abernethy Bridge. So I'm going to turn over to Matt, and he's going to go through, he can introduce himself and go through the rest of the project.
All right, thanks, Lili. So yes, I'm Matt Freitag. I'm ODOT's Region 1 Project Delivery Manager. I've been involved in this project somewhat from the start, but as you may know, it was part of our urban mobility office for a while, and then now it's back in Region 1, so I've been closely involved with it since about January. So, but definitely well aware of this. So, as far as the project overview goes, recall this is Phase 1A of a multi-phase project, and currently Phase 1A is the only phase that is funded for construction. So, our entire project, so for all of the improvements on 205, their budget is about $815 million. That includes this work on Abernethy. That also included the early design work to put in the third lane all the way down to Stafford, and then do some other work basically between I-5 and Oregon 213. So, but again, our current project is the bridge work, and that is, the budget on that one is $672 million. That has just about another year to go. So funding sources, you may recall, this is House Bill 2017 funds. We also have a mixture of federal and local funds, and then there's some highways or tax revenue bonds that are rounding out the funding. This is indeed ODOT's largest construction project in about the last 45 years. So, and we started in 22. We're about 70% done with construction, so we expect it to finish in late 2026. Next up. So let's see, Lili already mentioned the seismic strengthening work. That is indeed the central part of this project. But around that, we are also configuring the on and off ramps on both 99E and Oregon 43. We have the new roundabout in West Lynn that was finished in 2023. We're already seeing the benefits of that with fewer crashes and better travel times. We also have quite a few bike ped improvements in both Oregon City and West Lynn. I'll get to those here in a bit. The bridge itself, we're widening it to accommodate a future third through lane So the full benefit of this will be realized in future phases with the project. With completion of Phase 1A, southbound 205 will have 3 through lanes and the single aux lane across the bridge. So there will be that added lane. Northbound will continue to have 2 through lanes and 1 aux lane across the bridge. So we will have the wider shoulder so it's ready to go when the adjacent phases are done so that we can accommodate that extra space. We are also building a new sound wall in Oregon City at exit 9, just north and east of the bridge. This was, again, something that the project neighbors voted for. Rounding out the project scope, we also have stormwater treatment, retaining walls, upgraded signing, striping, new sign structures, and illumination. So getting to the benefits of the project. So we will see, and of course we already are seeing benefits to this project. We'll have the first earthquake-ready interstate bridge over the Willamette River in the Portland metro area. We expect to see travel will be safer with fewer crashes, with the improved interchanges and on and off ramps, again to those changes at 43 and then improvements to 99E. We also will see improved and safer bike and pedestrian facilities adjacent to the bridge and the interchanges. Reduced highway noise for the project neighbors. And as mentioned about the roundabout, we're already seeing benefits. Rush hour speeds have increased, local congestion has decreased, and we expect certain crashes to decrease about 48%, which we see on most of the roundabouts that we've installed throughout the state. Specific to Oregon City, so I do want to focus a bit on improvements and impacts on this side of the river, since we know you have a front seat to this project. So we expect intermittent noise during the day and night that some neighbors in Oregon City will hear. Traffic impacts will continue on 205 and on 99E, Main Street, Clackamas Drive, and the Arch Bridge. We are still working on the sound wall and retaining wall construction, so you can see more of that. Main Street will have an extended closure up to about a 3-week closure of Main Street just south of 205 near the Subaru parking lot. This is needed to install a new water line on Main Street to tie into the existing water line. The closure may be split up into shorter length closures, but that depends on contractors' means and methods. And then further along, we will have the realignment of the Clackamas Drive adjacent to the bridge. Let's see, on to a few more impacts. So soil stabilization. So part of the foundation work to strengthen the soils will help with the seismic resiliency. So that will be subsurface improvements at the east end of the bridge to improve the soil's resilience to a seismic event and to help everything work together. This is a very specialized work, so instead of having our bridge contractor do part of this, we are actually going to let it as a separate contract so we can get a specialized contractor that does this work specifically. We expect it to happen faster, be done better, and yes, hopefully it can be at a better price as well. This is expected to go to bid in the fall of 2026, so following right on the heels of the main bridge project. That work itself is expected to be up to about 2 years of work. It is mostly off the road near Clackamas Drive. As part of this work, also John Storm Park will continue to have impacts for the life of the project. The south side of the park is closed south of the bathrooms, closest to the bridge. The north side is open, but as you likely know, the city has closed the restrooms, but the parking lot does remain, the parking lot also remains closed. So, specific to bike ped improvements. So we're making several improvements in Oregon City specifically as part of this project. Here are the improvements on 99E at the southbound ramps. We will have wider sidewalks and ADA accessible curb ramps and a new crosswalk across the on and off ramps. You can see right there. And then also be improvements on 99E itself at the northbound ramps, wider sidewalks, ADA accessible curb ramps, a new crosswalk across the right turn slip lane from the off ramp, and a new 12-foot multi-use path at Clackamas Drive. We'll see a little bit more of that on the next slide here. So there it goes under the bridge. You can see the new path as it continues from the northbound ramps and it connects to the path south of the bridge. And here's the intersection of 99E and Clackamas. We'll also have wider sidewalks and ADA accessible curb ramps. So I want to talk a little bit about what we have done. So as I mentioned, we're about 2/3 done with the entire project. So The earthquake resiliency work includes foundation work and substructure, columns, crossbeams, and new bearings on the bridge. So the substructure and the in-water work is complete. Everything new that's going to be in the river is done. Now, that doesn't mean we're completely out of the water yet, because we are going to have to go back into the water and remove the existing columns, and then the contractor will have to remove their temporary work bridge. So that will happen closer to the end of the project. But the work that we did do, I mean, this was a monumental effort to build 14 12-foot diameter foundations that are 200 feet deep below the surface of the water for seismic stability. These are the deepest foundations of that width in the U.S. The concrete bridge columns and the cross beams, so that the main concrete elements holding up the bridge, are 95% complete. Bridge bearings, so those are the interface between the bridge supports and the actual bridge part. That's kind of the key to the seismic resiliency. It helps minimize the shaking. So we've got 250 bearings that need to be replaced. We have done 18 of those so far. Those are proving to be challenging, but we are working with the contractor to figure out how to build those a little bit more efficiently. So 18 out of 250 of those are done. We're also adding new steel bridge girders to widen the bridge. So 10 out of the 60 are fabricated for those. So they're just getting rolling on that. We have removed the old columns, the existing columns, at several of the piers. But as you can see, we've still got several spots that still need to have the interior piers removed. We finished the roundabout at 43 that connects with northbound 205, and then we've begun installation of the new sound wall on the Oregon City side. You've probably seen some drill rigs out there doing the foundations for those, so we expect to have the posts and the panels ready to go soon. So what's left? Only about a third, but it's some pretty big and pretty visible stuff. So we've completed the major work by finishing the in-water work. Now we're focused on finishing the columns, crossbeams, girders, and the bearing replacements. We're also getting ready for what we call the bridge slide, where the existing bridge, the main span of the Abernethy structure, will be slid out to make room for the new lanes in the center. We expect that to happen in the spring or summer of next year. The new sound walls should be finished in the spring, as well as several retaining walls, one of those along Main Street. The aforementioned bike and ped improvements are ongoing. And then there's all the other things like the new sign bridges, the concrete bridge rail, paving, new concrete surface of the bridge, and demolishing the old concrete columns. So those all still remain to get done in the next year plus. So I do want to talk about some of the impacts. We know how disruptive construction can be for travelers and local residents. You see this right in your front yard. Much of the work on 205 has to take place at night when the traffic volumes are lower. However, some of the daytime work is unavoidable. We anticipate more traffic and congestion in the area during construction. So here's the expected construction impacts for this project that remain. So ongoing nighttime lane and ramp closures along 205, daytime and nighttime lane closures on 43, 9090 Clackamas Drive and Main Street over here on this side of the river. Nighttime closures of I-205 with signed detours for the sign bridge removal. So those are the big signs that are over the lanes of I-205. 2 weekend directional closures, 1 weekend northbound and 1 southbound. That'll happen for the bridge widening for that slide that I talked about earlier. So we will have signed detours. Obviously, anytime we close a freeway, we want to keep most of the vehicles on the freeway system. So we're going to be putting plenty of signs south and north of here, so to keep either cars on I-5 or stay on the major routes. We don't want any local detours, but we know some of the shorter detours and some of the local trips will need to be going on to 990 and other highways in the area. We'll also have short-term sidewalk and crosswalk closures with ADA accessible pedestrian detours. Excuse me. So we expect more of that on 990 in the next month or two. As you've likely seen, the orange and white fencing, we do take our pedestrian detours very seriously. If we're closing down an ADA accessible route to fix it, we have to provide a temporary equal or better ADA accessible route as well. So it's not fast, it's not cheap, but it's pretty dang important. So we do make sure that the contractor puts that in and that maintains it so that all users can continue to use the facilities even when part of it's under construction. And then as a reality of construction, there will be ongoing noise until the project is complete. Specific to Rosenew, Oregon City, we'll have some flagging on Clackamas Drive and Main Street and the longer closure on Main Street that I mentioned before. Excuse me. All right. So before we take questions, I just want to mention a couple of other projects in Oregon City. So we've got 10 upcoming phases of the ADA curb ramp work throughout Region 1. So that's the entire Portland metro area. Several of those phases include ADA ramp construction in Oregon City. So we've got phase 1 that's currently under construction, has several ramps on 99E at 12th Street and further north. We know this is causing impacts on 99E more than typical, but we should be done soon in that section. Phase 4 is going to go into construction in 2027. That'll have ramps on 99E at 2nd Street and south through Kenema. Phases 9 and 10 are just in the early stages of design, so construction will be a few years out, but that will have more ramps on 99E throughout Oregon City. We certainly know that when it looks like construction, we've got a massive project like the bridge work, we kind of wonder, hey, is it all in the same spot? And we do have other projects going on, so we try to keep those somewhat separate, but we know to the traveling public, they don't care who owns the cone or which project is, it's work being done. So we do want to make sure we point that out, that we are working with those contractors, working with those construction teams to make sure that those impacts are appropriate for the level of effort there. But again, the ADA ramps are pretty darn important, so we take those seriously, and we know that it's going to be some lane closures and impacts to make those done, but the end result will be a much more complete system with accessible routes for all. So with that, and back to Abernethy, we're happy to answer any questions you might have. I know that was a lot thrown at you real quick, but happy to answer questions.
What was the earthquake rating before, and what is it rated up to after completion?
I'm no seismic engineer, not even a geotech. I'm not sure what the actual rating was, but the retrofit will get us to a lifeline route. So, and actually, I know enough just to be dangerous. I don't know if it's I know we're beyond a no collapse, but I don't know if it's a full seismic ready, as in it's going to be. I don't even remember the term, if it's, fully functional. We expect it to be standing. We expect it after the Cascadia event to still be functional, but it might need to have some inspection first before we'd actually put cars on it. So I guess in general terms, significantly better than what we have today.
And just a quick follow-up, what other facilities, bridges in the system in Portland are also to a similar rating?
This is going to be the first one across the Willamette. So if we look at other bridges further north, so you've got the Selwood Bridge, so done by Multnomah County not that long ago. I don't remember the exact one of that, but it's pretty dang new. Tocum Crossing is also quite new, so that one is right there. As far as the other existing structures, Markham, we've done some minor things on it, but nothing to this level. Fremont Bridge, we have not done much to it since it was built in '75. So this, as far as the freeways go, this is it. We have looked at lifeline routes and doing more of a corridor approach. So previously we have done some seismic improvements on I-5 further north, I think from about 99W up to where 43 goes across there at Macadam. So we looked at those structures. 205, we've not worked on anything else yet. I think we did do some work on 97 as well. So ODOT is definitely taking a corridor approach, knowing we can't fix everything. So how do we systematically get some corridors that are fully improved? So looking elsewhere, further down the Willamette River, you may have read, as part of the House Bill 2017 funding that provided funding for this, we also looked at Oregon 22 in Salem. That was actually a topic of discussion today at the Oregon Transportation Commission. So we're just embarking on the design phase on Center Street as well. So in the heart of Salem to get from Salem to West Salem. So a few big big bridge projects in the state, but not as many as we'd like.
Okay.
So when you talk about making improvements here and making it, but right south here, there's 2 overpasses. Are those seismically sound that they're not going to collapse? And what about the 213? I mean, are we having this seismically standing, but everything else around it is not functioning?
Yeah, I don't have
Seems
the
like
specific-
pointless,
Oh,
right?
well, we got to start somewhere. So yes, the structures you mentioned were built to the standards of their day when they were constructed, and as far as I know, we have not done any major upgrades to them since. So obviously, the Abernethy structure is the biggest and most important, so we're starting there. But we do know that along the corridor, we'll have to look at other ones to get a more complete system. The I-205 project itself, as I mentioned, the original one that looked from 213 all the way to I-5 did look at replacing every structure along 205. So the Clackamas River Bridge, Tualatin River Bridge, and a few others to the west towards I-5. But those obviously are, we have early design, but we do not have funding to complete that work yet.
Could you talk a little bit more about the Main Street closure, when that will be and why it needs to close? Is it just for constructing those sound walls?
You want to take this one?
That was there was water
That's-
line work that I think the road has to be torn up to install
Yeah.
new water lines, to connect in with the existing ones. So that is, I don't think it's related to the sound wall, it's part of the whole drainage system.
Yeah, and that is, as we were doing work on the bridge, then there was an opportunity to do some water line, that we do have water lines on the bridge, so I think this is tying in with that as well. I'll look over if we got more updates from the city, the public works.
I don't know about the project. I
Okay.
think the water line that they're gonna be working on is the South Fork water, the line from South Fork water that feeds West Glen, right? It goes through that area, across the bridge. So if it's the pipe I'm thinking of, it's like a 24-inch existing, maybe a 30, fairly old. And they're redoing that section. I don't know if it's still happening. I heard earlier that there's going to be a new sewer line on the bridge, and before that's put into service, they're going to use that for potable water as they're building the water line. Is that still?
Yes, so that is my understanding as well, is that we've got two lines going across, one water line and one sewer line, so we're gonna be taking the opportunity to use a brand new line to temporarily route that, so that we minimize disruptions, but also have tie-ins and make use of the new space.
And you had mentioned that's down more towards where the Subaru dealership is?
Yeah.
That area? Okay, good. That definitely, obviously will have some impacts for traffic, but when I heard Main Street closure, I was thinking downtown, right? So it's a little ways out of downtown.
Down by the apartment complex and the
Yeah,
roundabout.
yep,
Yep.
exactly.
Yep.
So, shouldn't be too bad.
Contractor is allowed to close it for up to 21 days. But I think they're looking at ways to do that in sections, so to close it for a shorter period of time, maybe a total of 21 days, but maybe not 21 days in a row. So I don't think that's going to be until the spring.
Do you have a date for when Main Street will be closing?
We don't have a date yet, but I know it's going to be next year. It's not
not, yeah.
imminent.
And we have expectations from the contractor, they need to notify us so that we can put out the word with plenty of notice.
Yeah, that's something that we understand is a pretty big impact to the city. So once the contractor gets closer to, starting to think about it and planning, we'll start talking about that more and making sure that people are prepared.
So on here, you show the project cost at 815 million, but that was the entirety of the project, not just phase one?
Correct.
And I think I heard 670 million of that is for phase one?
Correct.
And what was our original estimate?
Less. I don't have the specific numbers in front of me right now, but yes, we are remodeling a massive structure. So I don't know if anybody's remodeled a house, but sometimes you don't know the extent of the impacts and changes until you get into it. So we have had some setbacks and some delays and some cost increases as we've been going on there. So
And with those, are we okay getting through phase one with the overruns? Is that going to be an issue?
well, we are right in the middle of that, and we have a couple big risks that we are managing. So we have some risks to structural steel fabrication and the bearings that I mentioned earlier, and just the timing. So we're working with the contractor to hold them to the schedule, and looking at ways to minimize those risks so that we don't have those cost overruns and delays. So, but it's, you know, we're working hard to minimize them, so we don't have any numbers on those at this point, but we are on budget at this point.
What was the choice for the sliding versus just adding on a side?
So this is, sorry, I don't have the full details on that, but my understanding, so the approach is, yes, we're widening with more of a typical way to widen. We're putting new girders on the outside and widening the deck. The main span, so those existing girders, those massive girders that span all the way across the river, have so much capacity in them that we can hang more things off of them and they're still fine. They will still hold up the bridge. So to slide those over, and you've seen the angle brackets on the outside, so we're going to be hanging stringers on there, so smaller steel members to widen the deck, but the main piece can hold that extra weight. So instead of fabricating new massive girders to get all the way across there, our designers looked at it and figured out we could widen the pile caps, the foundations, slide the bridge over, and then hang the other parts off of it. So yeah, that was the first question I asked too, is like, why aren't we just doing this the easy way? But
That's what I was like. I was
isn't
like,
necessarily the easiest, and it would certainly not be the cheapest. So that's where we've got a very unique situation here, where the existing bridge is in many ways stronger than it needs to be, or has excess capacity. So we're making use of that capacity to save quite a bit of effort on the project.
and the columns, existing interior columns, those are being removed?
Yeah, so we've already cut those off. So the contractor came through, and I don't, if you look real close, you can see there's about a 4-inch gap in between them. So those are no longer supporting the bridge because we've got the new massive columns on the outside and the new pile cap. And so then those interior ones will be removed. It's up to the contractor on the timing. On the Westland side, they've already removed some of them because they're in the way of future phases or future stages on the existing bridge, but many of the other ones are still there. So certainly in the water, we still have to get those out as well.
I have a question. Originally in the early plans, before everything started, there was gonna be a second roundabout, right in front of the gas station there. On the off ramp oncoming was a Willamette Falls Drive. And that's still a huge bottleneck. Any plans on relooking at how they're gonna keep the flow going there? Cause it's almost impossible to get out.
Yeah, I think that would be a future phase. So no immediate plans to work on that. But as far as looking at other parts of it, looking at the entire corridor, figuring out where the traffic is and how do we make it function a little bit better, that's certainly going to be on the table as one future phase option.
I see some work being done, I guess, in Oregon City. Are you guys also going to be building infrastructure for the tolling there?
We have no infrastructure going in for tolling. So we do have new sign bridges going in for either signs or for ITS, so Intelligent Transportation Systems. So those variable signs you've seen elsewhere that either have the temporary speed reductions in front of congestion or just messaging signs to give travel time and other warnings. So we are putting in more sign bridges for that.
But if that something happens down there, you would have to go and add that infrastructure later on?
Yeah.
If somebody decides they're not toll, that would have to come afterwards and be retrofitted?
I would assume so. As you know, when House Bill 2017 was passed, the agency was told, hey, figure out tolling. And so we went down the path to start doing that. And then the governor put a pause on that. So we have no immediate plans to do any tolling on this or any other.
Well, no, I understand that. I was just thinking, like, you're doing all that work, you would, like,
Yeah,
the conduits and all that stuff
Right.
get ready.
Yep, yeah, so we're gonna make full use of that by having our ITS equipment up there. If and when tolling came around, then I think we would look at what is our existing, we've retrofitted many other places to put in some of the other ITS stuff, so
Okay.
we would look at what would need to get done in that case.
I'm looking at slide number 9, but you're all probably familiar with the section. It's on the west side of 9090. There's currently a temporary path for pedestrians, bicycles. It's a multi-use path that's been installed there just by putting up some jersey barriers. And it's a nice little cut through to be able to go through there safely if you're walking or biking. And there's no way for the cars to get through the jersey barriers, so you're pretty well protected in that route. And so I'm wondering why it's not just remaining on the map as a permanent improvement to 99E. So
Are you
why
referring
we
to-
couldn't just keep
Are you talking about 99 or Clackamas Drive?
99E underneath the bridge? There's a path currently that goes
Gotcha,
underneath the bridge using.
Yeah, you can see the
using-
alignment there in the kind of.
It would be, it's not labeled on the map, but it would be where that A is, not where
Okay,
the A
on
is
the shoulder right
pointing,
there.
but, yeah, along the shoulder of 99E. And, yeah, I mean, I don't understand why ODOT plans to remove the jersey barriers and remove that path, which provides a second option for people to walk or bike along 99E. It's shorter because you don't have to go all the way around the hotel. And it also has slowed down the traffic. So it's just a nice little feature that ODOT could save some money by not bothering to remove all those jersey barriers. So
Forgetting.
cost-cutting measure as well for you
Yeah,
all.
I'll need to look into that. I'm not quite sure on the details right there as far as what we're looking at, as far as the final one I know on this. Because I don't think we're looking at, I think we're effectively looking at putting 99E back to what the pre-construction condition was, so.
Okay.
You're saying that having
Well,
that positive separation is a positive thing?
Yeah, and I actually emailed, just as a private citizen, not as a TAC member, I emailed Abernethy Bridge Project and got a response from Jessica Ball, I believe her name is. Jessica Ball.
Yeah.
And then Kelly Ball and Paul Scarlett. So, and then I asked some follow-up questions like, what is the rationale in removing the jersey barrier? Just, because you've always thought of it as a temporary structure? Yes, but why does it have to be a temporary structure? Why can't we make it permanent? And I never got a response from ODOT in my follow-up
Gotcha, yeah,
questions, even
we'll
after.
check that. About when did you?
multiple-
When did you last send?
I could forward you the email. It was back in August when I was asking these questions, and they just kind of moved on to other things
Gotcha.
and didn't
Okay, well,
answer my questions anymore. But there's a whole stream of emails with me and Jessica and Kelly. So,
okay, yeah, they're all part of our PI team, so.
right.
I'll take a look at that and dig that back up and
Thank you.
resurrect conversation.
Any additional questions?
The only question I have, it's a little bit farther west on the bridge. I have never seen a bus going on 205, and we've just put in these breakdown lanes are now bus lanes. Are they planning on putting bus service on there that we're not aware of, or or is that the third lane that we really not have?
So no, that is indeed the shoulder, and that is, yes, we have just completed our bus on shoulder project. So that is a part of the carbon reduction program. So looking at our existing shoulder. So this is, I think, the third project we have in this program. So we did work on I-5 closer to
Wilsonville?
between Wilsonville and I think all the way up to into Tigard or into Tualatin. So then this one as well. This one started, I believe, at Stafford, made it all the way up to Sunnyside. Forgive me, I don't
I'm
remember
not sure
the
how
exact
far it
details.
goes the other way.
Right.
I just
So,
concentrated.
I'm trying to remember which, if it's TriMet or if it's Smart that uses those. I don't think Smart comes out on this side of things. But so I think it is TriMet. So, certainly, yeah, buses on 205 are rare. But I think it does provide an opportunity for any transit providers to be able to utilize that. So, and for those that aren't aware of all the details on a bus on shoulder, so they're only used when traffic on the freeway is below, I think, 35. Then buses are allowed to use the shoulder. They must go, I think it's, if traffic stopped, they can only go 10 or 15. I think they can only go 10 or 15 miles over whatever the rest of the traffic is going at the time. So it provides an opportunity to allow buses and other transit providers to queue jump effectively, so to be able to get along there. As far as which buses or which lines use 205, forgive me, I don't know exactly which ones, but I know this was identified as another good spot to use that shoulder. Certainly it is still a breakdown lane, it is an emergency area. There are protocols in place that if a bus is using it, that's why they need to go slow. If there's something in the way, they need to get into the lanes and get around that as well. But yeah, again, there's only certain times they can use it.
So can the Comet or emergency vehicles use that lane then?
I think I believe, I think emergency vehicles can use almost any of
Anything
them
they
as
can
well. I
find.
love that you say Comet, because not many people remember the Comet trucks.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, I do see them.
sadly, we have to call them IR trucks now, but yeah, I prefer Comet.
Interesting. Now, isn't it still illegal for lane splitting on motorcycles?
Yes.
Can we get some signage on between Stafford Road and the bridge? Because I'm really getting sick and tired of these lane splitters speeding through the traffic on the northbound lane. I don't see it on the southbound. But definitely northbound.
My pithy comment would be, it's rare that we put signs up to remind people to follow the law.
No, I'm just saying maybe Oregon law, no lane splitting.
I know. Believe me, it's frustrating when I see them as well. But probably not.
When you guys do the weekend closures, there will be notification way up, like.
We know this is a major impact, so yes. So picking the weekend and making sure the word gets out very early. Yes, sorry, I cut you off, but yeah.
I'm hoping that somehow we're not gonna have traffic. I guess that, I'm hoping with plenty notification, people will not just drive and then try to use 213 or get down on Main Street and clog the whole.
Even thinking the Arch Bridge can't handle that, so.
No.
I think the official detour takes people onto 213 heading to get, if they're trying to head west. If they're already on 205 and they can't continue, they would normally go across the river to try to get into West Lynn and that side, that they're gonna be, I believe the detour takes them onto 213.
And are you guys gonna have like, some sort of like state police presence or ODOT there at 213 or somewhere like, or where are you guys going to shut down traffic and stop it? Like, is it gonna be at 213?
I
Stop
think,
and then people have to get off there if they made a mistake, or is it,
I'll have to take a closer look, but I believe that, the idea is that we're routing people off at 213 and allowing local traffic to continue south, but I don't remember what the last exit is before
I would
people
assume
are
99E
forced to get
still,
off.
but yeah.
It's probably 99E.
But we know that we can't have everybody dumping right into 99E, it would be a mess, so.
Yeah,
yeah, that's mine.
Yep.
yeah.
That would be, I mean, for us that live here, like,
Yeah, the official detour will take, we will try to encourage as many people as possible to use 213, because otherwise, yeah, I think you're right, it's a hard
course,
stop at 99.
Right, of course, even to get across the river, I think we'd be sending people 84. So it'd be 84 to I-5.
I mean, yes, certainly, avoiding the area is the
Yeah.
first plan, the first layer of detour is, work your way around, take I-5, take 84, don't even get on 205 at all. But then we try to catch people and get them off onto 213 before they hit the hard stop at 99.
and does that messaging go like on I-5 or, way out in Vancouver or, especially the truck vehicles that
Yeah.
maybe.
I remember we just did a I-5 closure overnight on the 10th, on Monday night, and we got another one on Monday night, so you've probably seen the portable message sign, so And that's just for a 5-hour closure, but we put those out weeks in advance. So certainly on something like this for a full weekend, you will almost get sick of hearing from us on how.
Well, it's kind of like 217 where we had those
Yes.
shutdowns.
Yeah, we had those 5 closures to pave over the summer, so Lili knows all about those as well.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it.
Sure thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
So I did have one more
Oh, I
question.
apologize.
Sorry. There have been some follow-up questions. When do you think you'll get back to us with the answers?
Is it, Audrey, are you the one I should be communicating with the answers? Yeah, I would say early next week, we can get
Okay.
the answers. It looks like,
Thank you.
I've been taking notes, so, yeah.
We do appreciate everything you guys are doing, and making improvements to Oregon City here, making it, more accessible and stuff.
I only have one question that's a little bit separate. I've written to you guys about this southbound 205 off-ramp to 213. You guys have to figure out some kind of like one of those plastic barriers, I would say. People coming off crossing the bridge over with the people on the off-ramp going southbound on 213 are getting crowded out of their space, trying to get to Prairie Schooner. And there's barely enough room to, as you turn, somebody's trying to get into your lane, and which is causing backup, on the off-ramp. And I sent in a sample of what Tiger did on Hall and Shoals Ferry, where they put these flexible plastic, kind of like reflector things, so if they run over them, it's not going to destroy your car, but it does keep people to the right side of the line. Is there anything that you guys can do on that to keep her in lane intrusion for the people exiting 213 or the 205?
Yeah, the toughest thing is, having the appropriate striping there and having people, I assume they're wanting to change lanes quicker, even though they can go a few
bit
more
further.
car lengths further and then have plenty of space. So, yeah, that's our preference. The challenge we have with those plastic ones is, as you mentioned, though, people run them over and it doesn't hurt their car, but it means we have plastic sticks flying all over the place, and then our maintenance has to go out and fix them. So, no surprise, they're reluctant to have us install anything that's somewhat, breakaway.
But seeing that in Tiger, they're still standing.
Yeah.
So people are noticing them there, but it's bad. I mean, I exit this every night. My commute is from Oregon City to Tigard, Greenberg Road. And I can tell you where every seam that you have is breaking from the bridge, and the potholes and the stuff like that. You could probably hire me to give you a morning report. There are certain lanes, my wife wants to know why I jog different lanes, because I'm avoiding the seams. And I know the traffic flow where it goes. But coming home every night, I've had wash machines at the barrier there that have missed the recycling plant, the trash place down here, that they fly off the truck and they're sitting right on the off-ramp. Tires, it's stuff going to the garbage dump, that make the turn. But the problem is you've got cars that are coming from the off-ramp and they're just trying to immediately get over, and they don't realize there's a huge flow of cars that they're, and I've seen accidents in front of me where people have actually been sideswiped, because some guy's trying to get over. Granted, it was a poor design because there's not enough space, to travel with those speeds to get in there. But I think if you could get some kind of a plastic device, that would remind people for at least 75 feet or whatever, to stay over on your lane for a few minutes before you start cutting everybody off that is coming off the freeway, because we're not expecting cars to be jumping in front of you.
Yeah.
It kind of looks scary. You're coming, that traffic it's that beaming there is, I think the problem is you're it's missing entire lane over the railroad bridge. I think that's what, you don't have enough sufficient space there. And it's not, everything is converging right there. And I think it's the best that
It's a
like,
very
put
sharp turn.
together,
Sure.
but I think it is, I would say something like you're trying to get in and it's just a scary experience for everybody. And a lot of people are trying to get off that next exit there, and it's just, it could be like during some busy times, it's like, oh, I'm getting into accident, and just for some reason it doesn't happen.
Yeah, we'll take a look at that and see.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
I can submit that to our traffic investigations team and have them take a look.
To give you some ideas of improvements that we've done here was, we started noticing, this a few years ago, a lot of people doing U-turns on Redlands Road. Couldn't figure out why. And it turned out that people leaving Home Depot were getting on the freeway, not realizing that you can't turn left at the on-ramp there. And so they would go down there and then they would do a U-turn to try to get back. So the city, I don't remember, it was, I think it was you or who was your buddy? What's his name?
John Lewis?
John Lewis, yeah. They put signage down there, saying, 205 southbound, you gotta go through the Prairie Schooner lane there. And it's really reduced, just a sign.
Sure.
Caused a lot of reduction of people doing U-turns in front of you.
Okay.
On that there. And that's why I could never figure out why everybody was doing a U-turn right there. And there's, 3 lanes there. You got 2 left turn lanes and 1 right lane there, and somebody's trying to squeeze a car through there. So those are some improvements that worked very well, that were pretty cheap.
And that's a good point, that, yeah, there are many places where people are just confused on what their options are. So a well-placed sign can help with that, and even what you're describing here, as far as, people are worried about the lane that they need to get into, and they want to get into it immediately.
Yeah, because they're not looking to
It's
the
a very
right.
Oregon thing to do.
You are right.
You probably noticed elsewhere that we actually are doing more to encourage the late merging, or to remind people that they do have space to do that. So, not sure what we can do here, but we've been giving out things.
Zipper merging.
Yeah, zipper merging or other things to remind people that there's still road you can get there, and you will get where you need to go. You don't need to dive over there immediately and put others in danger.
I mean, I had on a number of occasions, it works for me, but I typically take that first exit, but there's and I'm in the right lane, I need to make that merge, but it's almost impossible, and I'm forced to take a Redland Road and go that way.
Oh, gotcha.
So it's just, sometimes you just have so much traffic, and it's just impossible. The duration from that, it's just too short to really force yourself through. At times, it's not possible. You really have to use Redland Road, which I think forces some of that traffic that's maybe not intended to use, and so pushes some of that congestion on that Redland intersection.
I know you're not in charge of 217, but if you can give this to the person there. I think that somebody's goofed up on the painting on Greenberg Road to 99. So we got 3 great lanes now. The problem is that people get in the new lane, I think it's kind of a 4th lane, don't realize that one ends and then it gets into the 3rd lane, and then that lane exits to 99. Problem is people don't know that lane's exiting, and at the last minute, you got people zipping over into the 2 straight lanes going forward on there. And either if they can paint, says lane exiting or exit only or something on the road, that, because the way it's striped, people think that it's, I don't know what they're thinking, to be honest with you.
Right.
But all of a sudden I see it every night. Everybody's like, oh my God, and they're just flying right over, and there's cars right behind them. They're expecting them to continue exiting on 99 to the signal.
Right. Well, great news. Lili and I have been on the 217 project since before the first shovel was returned, but we'll look at that. I will say some of that, though, with the new aux lanes being paved over the summer and then painted and now being used. There is a transition period, although you're right that most commuters, after 3 times, they should know what they're going to be doing.
Oh,
So,
yeah, but they're still showing up.
yeah, we'll take a peek at
There's a
that,
learning curve there.
just to make sure.
But it's
Yeah.
gonna be the best Christmas getting off at Greenberg Road for Washington Square, because I've worked there for 34 years. And that line will go all the way past 99 just to get to the mall. Now we've got 3 at least lanes to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Where's the project video? Is that on the website yet?
It's on the website.
So we
yeah.
just, I don't know how many people will care about 217, but yes, since we just completed the work on October 31st, we did release a video kind of showing that, and actually the general manager of Washington Square was quoted on there as well. She's quite pleased with how things went, but if you have a chance to peek at the project website, we've got a video.
I'll take a look at it.
But we will take a look at that northbound just to make sure that the striping was as intended and the signing.
Southbound though, right?
Southbound.
Southbound.
Southbound
Yeah.
from Greenberg Road
Yeah.
to 99.
Gotcha.
Is that, it's 4, 3,
Yeah.
and then 2.
Okay, yeah, we'll
And
take a peek
people
at that.
going on the third lane think it's,
Keep going.
going all the way through, and
Yeah.
then it's, peeling off.
Yep.
So you have,
I think it's amazing what you guys have accomplished under the tremendous traffic. I think I never noticed the construction is kind of out of your way and you're still able to keep moving, which,
Well, there are, thank you, there's a lot of challenges with that we recognize that people still need to get through there, so, when a project's under construction, it can't be painless to get through there, but we also can't shut everything down completely, except for the occasional weekend to pave, so we have to find ways for traffic and construction to coexist, so we do recognize that we need a lot of patience on the part of the traveling public, but then also have contractors that recognize that they don't get the entire road. They have areas they need to work in. We develop our plans with specific staging to make sure that lanes can continue to be used. Maybe not as many as we'd like, but that traffic can still get through there even if it is a bit slower and a little bit more time. But we know it takes a little bit longer to get things done. Many of these projects, 217, I'm guessing here, but we probably could have done it in 2 years if we just shut down 217 and just got it done, but that would be a bit of a mess for the entire west side.
We appreciate you not doing that. Yes. All right, well, thank you again. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
your time.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
All right, have a good night.
Yeah.
We are on to our Public Works report, so I believe Vance is up.
Kind of.
Kind of?
Audrey's gonna help me.
All right.
Thank you guys very much. Appreciate your
Thank you.
participation. So, the neighborhood fact sheet, Audrey, correct me if I'm wrong, but recently she went through and basically just updated, board member names and things like that. That was the only updates. This was something I believe we typically try to do in, late winter, early spring. We never got to it this year in '25. So, I'm thinking that, we discussed this, that we're gonna bring this back with updates, or talk about the fact sheet in January.
Yeah, so Dana had mentioned that there are gonna be some updates to the standard, let's see here,
Street design
street
standards.
design standards. And once they're adopted, she wanted to bring this back, and so that's what kind of pushed it off this past year, is it was kind of in progress and they never got adopted. And so we're gonna do that in 2026.
Okay.
Yeah. But by our goals and bylaws, we're supposed to have the opportunity to review it every year. So I wanted to make sure that we got that captured before the end of the year and that everybody has access to it. And so I've updated, as Vance had mentioned, everybody's membership name, and nothing else has changed.
And before we make any changes, we'll let her continue on with that process, and then we can revisit it next year after she's had her recommendations.
Yes.
Okay. Do we need to vote on anything here to approve it, or we good?
No, we're good.
Okay. That's all you had on the Public Works?
That's it.
That was easy. Does anybody have any communications for our next meeting? Any topics of the agenda we want to get on there?
I have a couple questions.
Yeah.
On the Clackamas County traffic,
Clackamas County TSP?
yes, thank you. I should know that. Do we have anybody from like the city on that, representing city, or at one point somebody was mentioning maybe somebody from the TAC?
We had talked about that, Dana looked into it, we did discuss it here, and as I recall, there wasn't really a mechanism for a TAC board member to represent TAC on the county TSP, but they could do it as a
Individual.
citizen,
Yep.
as I recall.
Yep.
To answer your first question, I believe Dana
Okay.
intends and is gonna be the one, she might, if we hire a traffic engineer, which we're gonna go back out, I think, hopefully reasonably soon, she'll task that person or potentially a new city engineer. But for the time being, I think Dana is intending on, and she is keeping track with the county and the county's TSP in that process. Yep.
So as a member of Clackamas County, you are able to be on that committee if
I'm
you
on
want
it
to
too,
put
maybe.
yourself there, if that's the answer to your
You would
question.
fill out the application and
I mean, I thought he was
apply.
volunteering.
I think I sent an email with links for how you can volunteer, and I could try and find.
I know
it.
John Lewis applied, but he, didn't get accepted. He told me this. So I think they're selective.
Oh, okay, there you go. So for now, Dana will report back to us on that until
Correct.
somebody else fills that slot.
And that's is it a couple year process or?
I think so. I don't know for sure, Chedemir, but yeah, I think it's a very lengthy process.
I should know, like, we're doing it for them, but it's a different group.
Is that Hermanos? doing that for them?
Not sure. I don't think so. It's somebody else.
Any other future agenda items that we want to relay for next meeting?
We have one for December, or we
We
postpone it?
usually take December off, so it'll be January.
Just checking.
All right, unless I hear anything otherwise, meeting is adjourned.
All right.